Okay, two new teams, Lucknow and Gujarat, had an option of talking to some players beforehand and saying, "Hey, आजा मेरी हवेली में दिखाता हूँ तुझे गौचारा." And Lucknow chose Ravi Bishnoi, Marcus Stoinis, and KL Rahul. Looking at today's match, my faith in them has a little bit increased in their choices, but only a conversation with Gurkirat will tell me whether I'm right or wrong. What's happening here?
No, so I think Lucknow probably have the second best 11 because see, एक तो होता है you get all rounders, right? Then you have all rounders who offer different things. Now from Hooda, Holder, Stoinis, Krunal, and there was one more guy. Gautam. Yeah, Gautam.
Kyle Myers.
Yeah, Kyle Myers will be a backup anyway. So from 3 to 8, they have people who can both bat and bowl. They legit have eight bowling options in their 11. It is crazy. And the other bowlers that they have are Bishnoi, Wood, and Avesh, right? And their opening is Quinton de Kock and KL with probably Manish Pandey at 3. What drives me crazy about this entire 11 is that the only uncapped now, even by the time the IPL comes, it will not have a single uncapped player. Before the IPL or at the auction, it was only Bishnoi and Avesh who had not played an international game. Everyone else had. By the time the auction comes, every single player of them that they have is an international player.
Yeah.
So no dearth of experience. That tells you that this team has seen, मतलब इन्होंने घाट घाट का पानी पिया है almost. तो वो वाली बात होगी, right? And then the only downside that this team might have is Manish Pandey anchoring. मतलब if Manish Pandey,
मैं तो उल्टा बोलने वाला था कि मैं सोच रहा था फाइनली मनीष पांडे को एक अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म मिलेगा एकदम ठोकने को, because he has a proper I mean obviously KL being an anchor opener.
I really hope KL does not be an anchor opener, man. कितना वो लोग है वो.
KL has no excuse to anchor this time because Mark Wood can also bat. Outside of Avesh and Bishnoi, everyone can swing their bats in that team. So what I'm trying to say is ki if the need be, so like if one wicket falls early, then you can have Manish. Manish anyway has good numbers in the power play. He can play pace. The downside begins if Manish is staying beyond the 9th or 10th over. मतलब 9th or 10th over के बाद if Manish is struggling, then he should actually hit wicket himself or find a way to get himself out. Because then you have Hooda, who's very good against spin.
Yeah.
You have Stoinis, brilliant against pace. You also have Krunal Pandya, who can hit spin. You have Holder, who's an underrated batter in my opinion. And then you have... So there is no dearth of options. You have a lot of options to play around with. That 11 is as solid as it can be. The problem in the squad is that they don't have a backup for Bishnoi.
They don't have backups in general. They have a very strong first 11, but their backups are not that great.
They have a backup for Mark Wood. Dushman Chamira is a good option.
Yeah.
They have a bowler who was in bewilderness like Avesh Khan. And like Avesh Khan had one good season, usse pehle usko bhi koi nahi janta tha. So they have Ankit Rajput, who was in KKR first, and then he went to Punjab. So I think he's played under Gambhir, if I'm not wrong, who has potential. So they have these options. They also have Evan Lewis, brilliant option. Evan Lewis can most teams. So they have options. I think where they went wrong is they could have probably, instead of buying someone like Kyle Myers, and because they also ended up with 7 overseas players. Instead of that player, they could have bought someone like Sandeep Lamichhane at base price 40 lakhs and covered that thing as well. Chalo, if Bishnoi is not injured, we can play Lamichhane as a wrist spinner. Drop one of the overseas players, maybe Holder, or because Stoinis they retain, or Quinton de Kock because KL Rahul can keep. Because if Quinton de Kock is dropped, then you can let Manish Pandey open. Then that is not a problem. So that they could have covered, which is something I think probably happened because they had not. This is also surprising because when Gautam Gambhir was in Delhi Daredevils at that point of time in 2018, Sandeep Lamichhane was for the very first time picked in the IPL and he played 5 odd games. So I was surprised why Gautam Gambhir did not go for him, especially at base. So that is one area which they could have covered. But apart from that, I think Lucknow have done a brilliant job in terms of covering the bases. बाकी players perform करे ना करें, that you never know. But on paper they have done a great job.
नहीं, डर वही रहता है कि जब 25 अलाउड है और तुम 21 खरीदो, तो you have to be damn confident in your picks. You know, it's just that in itself shows कि कुछ तो strategy लगाया. I feel like you know, it's almost reminiscent to me personally of DC in the first season, where on paper they were like the best, and then it just somehow failed to work as the season progressed. I mean, not Delhi Capitals. I mean
Deccan Chargers.
Deccan Chargers, the OG DC. Moving on to the Gujarat team, an interesting team in itself. You know, when the last Gujarat team was, remember the
it's
last
horrible.
remember the time when they had Raina, and remember when you had a hope that the Gujarat team would, I don't know
this
anymore.
team is so bad.
This team is really messing with me.
कौन है वो लोग का फास्ट बॉलर कौन है?
Vijay Shankar.
Fast bowler options are okay. They have
Alzari Joseph, Lockie Ferguson, Pradeep Sangwan, and Yash Dayal. Yes, Yash Dayal.
There's Shami. So I have no clue why they bought Pradeep Sangwan. I mean, Pradeep Sangwan was a net bowler for Delhi last season. So why would they buy him? I don't know. And Gujarat actually started very well in the auction, buying Lockie Ferguson and buying Shami, because if you have Lockie Ferguson, then you don't need to bowl Shami at that. You bowl in 3 overs in the power play, then some 1 over in between.
Lockie Ferguson का बहुत fitness issues है यार.
वो है, which is why they also have Alzari Joseph, who's another good option.
But who is a new ball bowler?
ठीक है, उतना you have to. Death bowlers वैसे भी in general ज्यादा नहीं होते.
So और death bowlers का वैसे
हार्दिक bowling करता नहीं है. विजय शंकर को खिलाओगे क्या?
विजय शंकर will anyway play in this lineup.
Yeah,
he will have to play.
इसको खिलाना ही पड़ेगा.
I'll tell you where things started to go wrong for Gujarat when they bid 9 CR for Tewatia. I have absolutely no clue why they did that. Because I'll tell you why.
And they already bought Sai Kishore by then, if I'm not mistaken.
They had, so you have the world's best wrist spinner anyway, so you don't need a wrist spinning option that you were desperate for. The base that they had to begin with, so their first 5 picks were Shubman Gill, Hardik Pandya, Rashid, Mohammad Shami, and Lockie Ferguson. From there, you shouldn't be idly messing up, right? Yeah. But they seem to forgot that they didn't buy a keeper till the 16th pick. So they didn't have a keeper, which was insane. Ki bhai keeper kaise nahi tum pick kar rahe? And they didn't even have a left-handed batsman as well, right? So out of desperation, they had to go for Matthew Wade, because I think that maybe that left-handed reason is probably one of the reasons why they paid so much for Tewatia, and then they also paid David Miller.
Yeah.
Now, another very good pick that they had was Jason Roy, but again, and that too at 2 crores, a massive steal.
Yeah.
But how would you fit
But
him?
is he the same? But is he? Yeah. But I mean, is he the same batsman that he was earlier when he was making waves in the scene? Also, I don't think so.
He's a better batsman now.
You think so?
Yes. I'm just having a look at their squad. I think they have only one. They have only one wicket keeping option, right?
Yeah,
Saha and Wade.
Yeah. So wait now. That is the problem. They might even play Wade, and they might open with. So their opening is not clear as of now. Whether it is Wade and Shubman Gill, or whether it's going to be Jason Roy and Shubman Gill. Jason Roy would have been perfect complement for Shubman Gill, but because keeping option hai, you might even open with Matthew Wade.
And if they're going to play Saha as a keeper, they might as well open with him.
No, that they will do. So that is another.
तो झक मार के करना ही पड़ेगा ना फिर तुम्हें.
That is another conundrum. So Rashid will definitely play. So will Lockie Ferguson. वो तो 2 हो गए. The pick comes between the other two, right? Now, because again they don't have a left-hander. They don't have a great left-hander option. Their only left-handed options are David Miller and then Rahul Tewatia and Matthew Wade, right? And Ravi Sai Kishore. So Ravi like, in the top 5, you need a left-hander at least. So either David Miller would play or one of Matthew Wade will play. If Matthew Wade plays, then Jason Roy is not there. So there is, at this point, getting a first 11 which is balanced is going to be difficult for them because they messed up a few things here and there. And there's a very good possibility that this team might have to play Vijay Shankar at 4. Vijay Shankar at 3 or 4. Because
remember what happened the last time of the team played Vijay Shankar at 4?
See, I'll tell you the problem. Vijay Shankar को कोई team clarity भी नहीं देती if he has to anchor or if he has to attack. So you have to give him that clarity. And if you play, so because ऐसा नहीं है कि they can't assemble a good team, they can't assemble a good 11. They can, but options are such that they will more or less likely to mess up. They could end up with the top 4 of Jason Roy, Riddhiman Saha, Shubman Gill, and Vijay Shankar. So you have 3 players who could get stuck on the crease and not get out. And then have Hardik Pandya at 5. So 5 right-handers straight away. So no problem. But I think the likelihood is that their 5, 6, 7, 8 is going to be somewhat like Hardik Pandya, Ravi Sai Kishore, Rahul Tewatia, and Rashid Khan. Ye to ho gaya 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11 would be obviously Mohammad Shami, Lockie Ferguson, and then one bowler could be Yash Dayal, could be Darshan Nalkande. We don't know. It's an option which is open. Or it could even be Varun Aaron. They have Varun Aaron. So that is one Indian bowler option. The problem is top 4. Top 4 में one will be obviously Shubman Gill. One would be Vijay Shankar because आपको Hardik का पता नहीं कि he will bowl or not. So Vijay Shankar has to be. So it eventually comes down to which of the 2 players amongst David Miller, Matthew Wade, and Jason Roy will play. And if Matthew Wade plays, then probably you will play David Miller, because then you don't need to play Riddhiman Saha. So you have more options. You could even have the idea of Hardik at 4 and Miller at 5, right? So then your team could be Gill opening with Wade, 1 down Vijay Shankar, 2 down. Yeah, 2 down could be Hardik or 2 down could be Miller, or you could even float around the idea of sending Ravi Sai Kishore up the order. So that is there. Or you open with Jason Roy and Riddhiman Saha, Shubman Gill at 3, and then have David Miller at 4 to bring in that option and play around with it. But problem is you can't really have Shubman Gill batting out below 3. That is a difficult thing to play around.
Couch Pundits Cricket Podcast. For the fans, by the fans.